Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us on KREM 2 News First at 4. I'm Tom Sherry.
And I'm Whitney Ward. Right now, all of the major mountain passes in the state of Washington are closed and will likely stay that way through the weekend until Sunday. We have team coverage this evening as our area is feeling the impacts of those closures. Amanda Rowley has been speaking with local grocery stores about supply shortages that they are already seeing.
And Thomas Patrick is in our brand new KREM 2 storm tracker to keep an eye out on the local roads for us. With today's warmer temperatures, we're seeing some water ponding on the roadways following yesterday's snowstorm. And of course, I have your upcoming forecast. We'll do that for you in just a few moments so you know what to expect this weekend. Just a hint, we're looking at much colder temperatures. Well, breaking news, I-90 is now closed. The Idaho and Montana border to St. Regis, Montana is closed now due to an avalanche. The avalanche is blocking both eastbound and westbound lanes. Lookout Pass is included in the closure. Idaho State Police say there is no estimated time to reopen I-90.
All right, first we want to kind of give you the big picture of all of these mountain pass closures, just how much the state really is cut off right now on both sides. So as we take a look, if we start in Spokane, the most traveled path across the state to the west side is I-90 headed towards Snoqualmie Pass. Once you then get to Ellensburg and then all the way to the mountain to North Bend, I-90 is now completely shut down. This should be playing. I'm not sure why it's not playing, but I-90 is, again, as we said, for about 72 miles is completely shut down from North Bend to Ellensburg in both directions. They got a staggering 26 inches of new snow on Wednesday night going into Thursday. Now we're hearing it's going to be Sunday at the earliest for reopening. Okay, so what about White Pass? That is another option that sometimes people will choose. It's about 1,500 feet higher than Snoqualmie, but it's closed too right now because usually you can choose one or the other. Not right now, though. White Pass is seeing continuous slides of rocks, snow, and debris out onto the highway, and it is just too dangerous for crews to even be up there trying to clear it off of the highway. So right now, there's no estimate for when that might reopen at all. All right, what about Stevens Pass? It's usually another option that we have as you try to get from one side of the state to the other. Nope, it's closed right now as well through Saturday most likely. Heavy snowfall caused extremely dangerous conditions, and the combination of all that snow and then the warmer temperatures that we've started to see, that's really only increased the avalanche danger. They've also seen lots of slides, completely impassable right now. Okay, next is Blewett Pass. Also closed right now. Avalanche danger still a problem. Not only do they have crews there just waiting until they can even safely get into the area, once they do get there, then they have a ton of work to do trying to clear away all the snow, the fallen trees, the rock slides, and everything else. And as Tom said, we are learning again less than an hour ago, Lookout Pass between Idaho and Montana also shut down because of that avalanche there. Tom, you've got more details on that one for us tonight. Right, Tom?
I do, as a matter of fact. Let's talk about it. We've got the incredible amount of snow that we had yesterday, right? Then we had a huge warm up in the overnight hours. And now, as you can see, we've had incredibly strong winds. This is a look at some of the peak wind gusts that we've seen across the area. 43-mile-an-hour winds in Coeur d'Alene, 46 in Spokane, 56-mile-per-hour wind gusts in Pullman. And you can see winds have been gusting up to 48 miles per hour down in Grangeville, Idaho. We have that avalanche warning in effect. You can see that across North Idaho, which includes Lookout Pass. So basically, we are stuck in the state right now unless we head south. You can't get across the Cascade passes. Those are closed. And now you can't get across the Idaho passes, at least Lookout Pass, into Montana because that's closed. The only way you're able to go right now is head south if you need to get out of the state or both of our states, Washington and Idaho. We've got a wind advisory in effect through tonight at 7 o'clock for wind gusts still up to 40 miles per hour here locally, 50-mile-an-hour winds down in the lower Columbia Basin. At least the snow has slowed down locally, but still snowing like gangbusters in areas of eastern Idaho and southwestern Montana. There's a closer view. Again, not much activity here locally, but my gosh, we had a heck of a lot of snow. Portions of Wenatchee picked up 23 inches yesterday. That's a new single snowfall total for Wenatchee. We'll look for colder weather to move our way over the weekend. 25 the low on Saturday, then a daytime high of 33. That's going to firm up the snowpack, but it's also going to make the side roads almost like concrete where they haven't plowed yet. We'll look for dry weather continuing through Monday. I'll have your 7-day forecast coming up in a few minutes.
All right, sounds good, Tom. And you may have noticed some shelves at your local grocery stores already looking a bit empty, and that is because of all those closures on all of the Cascade Mountain passes. It's been preventing trucks from making all of their deliveries. But as KREM 2's Amanda Rowley reports tonight, those shelves likely won't be empty for too much longer. Hi, Amanda.
Yeah, Whitney, I went to Rosauers today, and their shelves are full with the exception of a few items. And it's food that is delivered from western and southeastern Washington. With all the passes closed right now, delivery trucks are stuck and can't make it to Spokane until the passes reopen. Now, Rosauers manager Harry Wilson says the trucks delivering their Huckleberry specialty items is delayed right now by 2 days. And that's why a few items in that section aren't available. He says they're also waiting on a truck to deliver chicken from southeastern Washington. But again, the passes have delayed that shipment. Now, Wilson says not to worry though, because the food is coming, just a bit slower than usual.
To be perfectly honest, these are all going to be short-term things. You know, the chicken's still coming in, it just comes in later. We find alternatives. You know, it's all working out. It's inconvenient though.
Now, I also spoke with a few local Spokane restaurant owners. Some of it, Chef Chad White's restaurants rely on fresh seafood deliveries, but he's experiencing delays on those shipments as well. Now, at this point, as Whitney explained, the passes are expected to reopen on Sunday at the earliest. Grocery stores like Rosauers expect to finally receive their delayed shipments soon after that happens. Reporting in the newsroom, Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
Well, we have Thomas Patrick out in the KREM 2 Storm Tracker, and as you well know, there's been an incredible melt-off happening right now. So we wanted to send it out to Thomas to see just what the local roads look like. Thomas?
Yeah, Tom and Whitney, things have gotten obviously a lot warmer today, and we're seeing a ton of snow melt. So we're kind of making a couple loops around some of the streets near the downtown area. We actually are just to the south here, and this is probably the one road that doesn't look all that good out here, but obviously better than what it did yesterday. So if no plows came through, your road probably looks like this. But obviously all of the major roadways are doing just fine. In fact, if we pan on off to the right here, if you look right at the bottom of the screen, you might be able to see some of these sidewalks here are actually well shoveled and should be no problem if they were shoveled. But instead, what's going to happen now, as we are just kind of making the loop around here, what's going to happen now is that our temperatures are going to fall back below the freezing mark at around 8 to 10 o'clock tonight. And you can see there is quite a bit of this leftover water, the melted snowfall from today. Well, if that hasn't evaporated by tonight, it is going to refreeze over. So we are kind of on a big watch for black ice later on tonight. So again, a lot of the major roadways look a lot more like this, but look at that side where all that snow has been plowed off to the right side. All that's going to refreeze tonight, especially once our temperatures get well below the freezing mark after about 8 to 10 o'clock this evening. Reporting from the Mobile Storm Tracker, I'm meteorologist Thomas Patrick. Back to you in the studio.
Thomas, thank you very much. And you had talked about that yesterday.
Yeah.
Once it does melt, of course, it is then going to refreeze, and it's going to be like concrete.
It is.
And very hard to shovel or plow or whatever.
I do think we dodged a bit of a bullet, though, because we had such warm air come in last night. It melted the snow on the trees. I was concerned about the trees becoming waterlogged with snow and water, and then the strong gusty winds and then causing power outages. But really, we were able to melt that snow on the trees, so at least the power outages, there were some, but not nearly as numerous as they could have been.
Yes, okay, well, we'll take that as a win,
Yes.
slight win. Thanks very much. All right, coming up next here on KREM 2 News at 4, parts of the west side of the state are also underwater tonight, and businesses are worried.
If it gets worse from here, then I don't know what we're going to do. We'll figure it out.
We're checking in with the west side of the state coming up right after the break.